Hello everyone, 大家好. I am Rob Ivan. I'm a UI/UX product manager and software developer based in Singapore. Today I'd like to show you some of my work as a front-end software developer and why I think it's important if you're looking to become a product manager. So let's hit it. Well, first I love to explain with examples. So this product that we're seeing here is called is for a website for a company called Old Mine. As you may be aware, when you're buying a house or an apartment, you get to see a model of the place. Usually the same layout, already having furniture, but when you make the purchase, that means that usually it will come without the furniture, or you need to negotiate with the real estate person. If all the products are available. And so this company, in a very smart way, created a marketplace where all these products are available online, and if they're grouped in collections. So if you really like the decoration of a model home, then you basically scan a QR code, and then this leads to a page where you can purchase all the items in that place individually or as the whole set if you wanted to. In the background, it would reach out to different online marketplaces where these items could be purchased and made the purchase within the platform. So no need to go and log in to other vendor websites. So as a PM, it's important to explain to other people what you're doing in an easy way to understand, even if they're not developers. Still, you need the skill to explain very technical ideas in a non-very technical way. That's why I use videos to present my work, because visually, it's easier to understand what changed in the platform. So I always try to think on how the deliverable of the work looks like and how to make it feel like it's heading on the right direction of the final product. And as a dev, you need to understand that the final product, it's not on your computer. It will be on many computers, it will be live, and it'll need to work for everyone without you being there. My role as a front-end was to use JavaScript. So it's a very well-known framework called React.js to build the UI of the website and connect it to APIs. In this project, we didn't use TypeScript. At that time, we were doing the type checking with prop types, and I used them for certain objects like a product or a physical space or the different users. This allowed me to know the schema for each one and if they had any required fields. For React.js at that time, we were already using hooks. We were using normal useState, useEffect. We needed to update a global state with often because we had an option to update a cart to where the items that you dragged and dropped into a collection needed to be updated or update the pricing of your cart depending on the ones that were available based on their quantity. And this also helped setting the default values and error handling in cases where, for example, a product came without a brand name, and this still needed to work and not break the UI. So HTML and CSS were a must. We were using SCSS, and I had a set of variables which allowed me to modify components across the whole site, which was more than 100 different pages. We also had components that showed different content depending on who you were. If you were the owner of a space, you'd see some different options than if you were a guest in that space that you were building. So if you were an admin, you could see it all. Now, how is it like being a part of a remote dev team? Well, we were around 6 at the time. People in Brazil, people in the US, myself at that time, I think I was in Mexico. A couple of devs were backend developers. They were using Java, and they built the REST API in which we iterated using Postman as a CRUD. So we could leave comments there on Postman and create draft API JSON responses of what I needed in order to fill out the UI or save new data into the database. I was the main frontend at that time. The previous frontend moved to a product manager position and gave me the guidance on the business goals. Now, new user interface needed to be designed as well. Occasionally, I had to use Figma to create prototypes of new features using our main style guide. And styles were very important for these interior design friendly platform, as you may see. So needless to say, being a UI designer helped a lot. We also had a Python developer who did scraping, and all of this happened with the usual branches and development flows using PRs in GitHub. So we had a daily 15-minute stand every day and bi-weekly executive meeting where we did the demos of the product to other people. Now, designing new features or layouts. Sometimes, depending on the requirements of a feature, I would go into Figma and create multiple options to solve an issue. Or if I knew the components already available, I could create the prototype in the front end directly. So part of the role included designing in the browser if possible, which was very easy because of live reloading. Now, what challenges did we encounter during development? Well, the performance of the web app was an issue when I arrived to the company. The Webpack build was around 60 megabytes, and that's just too much. It took like 15 seconds to load some screens. So there were improvements on the response of the time of the API, but we also needed to find what was making the build take so long. I also applied lazy loading and pagination because we had pages with thousands of products available. A special challenge in this project was that the mobile experience needed to be as good as in the desktop version, and there were no designs for the mobile version. So I had to come up with a responsive version while developing. Okay, so how do we remote work? Luckily, most of my career I've worked remotely, and this was no issue. I've had to work with people worldwide. Although in this case, everyone was in the same continent, there was no complications regarding time zones. Still, as a dev, it's good to know how to work asynchronously, because this teaches you how to over-communicate what you're doing, even if no one is asking. So this lets everyone else stay calm and know what you're working on or will be working on. Now, why was this experience important when getting a role in as a PM? First, as a PM, you need to manage other developers. So it's great to have an idea of when a task seems too big and it needs to be broken down into multiple smaller ones in order to get done some of it in a specific time frame. I know it sounds complicated, but it means that if the task takes too long, it's harder to know if it'll take, let's say, take 3 months or 6 months. If it's broken down into smaller tasks, at least you can tell how much can we deliver every 2 weeks and see progress more often. Well, secondly, you get to know who to connect to get things done. If someone is having issues with a script in Python, you know that the other person that worked on a similar type of code previously and can help unblock the team. It gives you an extra layer of understanding on how to solve an issue. Third, you will be able to write a better and more comprehensive project description and requirements that can be seen by non-technical and technical people, because you now have the perspective of both. Fourth, it gives you the power to know when a feature needs to be released, or even when a feature that hasn't been done before also requires a spike. So this is a time where you research in advance and you can set up that time for a developer to do the research and story pointing and then allocate it into a sprint, which is hard to calculate sometimes, like how much time are we going to dedicate just on researching something. And lastly, time framing. I think this one is one of the most important ones in agile development. You may have 2-week cycles and you need to know what can a developer deliver in that time, not only according to that person's previous velocity, but also to an understandable velocity that will work with the rest of the team. I hope that with these reasons, you now get involved more in the tech side as a PM. You have also a better understanding of the things that I had to learn to become a front-end developer, and also, take the decision to take a coding course. I think that's something that you need to do almost every year at least. And I started watching LinkedIn learning videos, and also I took some classes in Codecademy where I first learned JavaScript and then got involved into my first position as a front-end building web applications. So thanks for watching. Remember to follow me for more software and tech videos. Pura vida. 再见, people.